Go ahead and call the meeting to order. We do have a set of minutes.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Are there any comments or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public comment at this time?
I was not successful.
It didn't work.
No, that didn't work. We got something.
Okay, I got a new computer yesterday and my print drivers are not working, so
I
I
gave
did
one to
try
mine.
to give you an update.
Probably better than the agenda I've got in the package.
Yeah, I tried twice.
Okay,
I'm Ken Young, 1221 Shop Springs Road. Almost exactly 3 years ago, you approved out of this committee $5 million to go to the Water Authority. That was ARP money. That was August of '22. How many taps have been opened since then? New taps? Well, the answer is thousands and thousands and thousands. And those are all in subdivisions. All in subdivisions. So I know you don't have to answer questions. So I'll ask Mr. Hall here. He's got Clever Creek, St. John's Road, County Line, and Knee Road. Those were all promised to have water initiated. How many taps are on those roads? None. None is the answer. If Mr. Kurtz was here, I'd ask him about Coe Lane. I'd ask him how many new taps are on Coe Lane after 3 years. Answer's none. I'd ask Ms. Bowman, how many of your constituents that had hazardous water in August of 2022 have safe water today with this money? None. None. So it's sort of dark humor to hear the school teacher bonuses. We can't figure out how to gross up a bonus where it's an even number. And they get a $2,000 bonus and put $1,400 in the bank and it should be $2,000. And the Water Authority has wasted $2.5 million of your ARP money. There's no telling how many hundreds of thousands, maybe $1 million they've blown so far at the Labordo School. So I ask the question again, how bad does it have to get? You know, this is the group that can stop this. You can get answers. You know, a simple question, why aren't the taps on 3 years later? Why does every subdivision have 1,000 taps and the people that live on these little roads don't have any? That's a fair question and nobody's answered it. Why did we go from a self-contained step system on the school property and the bright idea is to pump effluent 3 miles round trip? When did that get changed and who made that decision? Why are we doing that? What benefit to the school? What benefit to the taxpayer? $1 million here, 100,000 there, and you're sharpshooting the teachers for $300 or $400. I think the county commission had really better get on the ball. The brand of this county, crown jewel is the schools, safe streets, low taxes. Well, that's all going to get blown up. It's been in the newspaper a lot, it's been on TV, and I'm afraid to tell you, you're going to get in the media again, and it could have all been stopped. And I'm going to the mayor. A lot of people have been to the mayor's office to try to get this stopped, but here we are. So you know what needs to be done, and you know the only thing you can do to get accountability. So the question is the county commission ever going to ask for accountability out of the Water Authority? That's the only question. I mean, if you don't, then I'm assuming that you're okay with the way things are going. I'm not okay with it, and I don't think a lot of people are okay with it. So I'm here to ask you again, bring the chairman of the Water Authority before you to answer these questions. There's no other way to get the answers. I'll take any question. And thank you for your time.
Any other public comment this time?
I'd just like to ask a question about a comment. Mr. Nelson's been before us many times. I'm sure there's backstories I don't know. I don't know anything about agendas. I don't know anything about motive. But if his research is accurate and it's correct, why aren't we doing something about it?
I stand by anything that I've made very serious allegations, and they demand very serious proof. And I don't walk in front of bodies like this and make these accusations if I don't know. 99% of the time, I give you the documents before I make them. I post the comments that I'm going to make, even to the school board. I send them in advance. I got them right here. Any question you want, I've got the answers right here. So to your question, yeah. And it's not just me. And unfortunately, any kind of progress that has been made to solve the problems there have been made outside this organization. They've been made at the planning office. They've been made at the Tennessee Board of Utility Regulation. They've been made at TDEC, and on and on. So I think you really need to consider acting. The sooner, the better.
Question, Mr. Chairman, and if Mr. Kurt's on the water board?
I've got a question for our county attorney, just in light of all these comments and things. So my understanding is that Wastewater Authority of Wilson County is a separate independent utility board. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, at which point, I don't think the county commission has any authority over a utility, with the exception of we appoint their board members. And I know that up until July 1 of 2025, the county commission or county governments did not have the authority to recall anybody that we actually appointed. So anybody that was appointed by the county commission, there was no way to recall them up until, 5 weeks ago, the state law changed. But other than that, my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor Jennings, I don't think we have any authority whatsoever over the wastewater authority because they're an independent utility, and their governor, well, I think who is supposed to keep them in line really is TDEC. Is that correct?
You've asked me a lot of questions.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll try to remember them in order. I've been asked a couple of times to look at what we could do,
Right.
and my response has been, rather than saying you can't do anything or you can do something, my response was, at some point in time, if you want me to look at that, I will. But I will tell you publicly right now, this man and myself are spending a lot of time trying to get Legardo Elementary straightened out. He's done a great job of getting that school open. But we got to get this, this pump and haul is a short-term solution, and we got to get that fixed. When we get that fixed, then I'll look at anything you want me to look at.
Yeah. Well,
Now, you're right, Tennessee
Yeah.
Board of Utility Regulations got a lot of control over them, as any municipality or independent authority. It is an independent authority.
right.
We do appoint the membership, and there is some question about whether or not we can remove a member.
But that's the only authority that we as a county commission have over the wastewater authority, correct? That was my main question, because I believe Mr. Young has
To my
come to us multiple times asking us to somehow exert some authority over this board, but I don't believe legally that we have the authority, and that's what I'm asking for clarification on.
And that's, and what I'm saying, I'll
Right.
get that for you, but that's not my focus right now, I'll be honest.
I understand.
And I've shared that with Mr. Young, that's not my focus right now.
I'd like to make a comment on that if I could, please. So, Tennessee Code 68, Chapter 221, Part 6, 605, Appointment of Commissioners. The commissioner may be removed from office by 2/3 of the vote of the government body and following. That's been in effect since the day I walked into this room 2 years ago. Public Chapter number 132, that came into effect, as you said, recently. I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that these two things are very similar, and one or both applies, and has been for some time.
Right. But I believe that's the only regulatory authority that we have as a county commission at all.
That's exactly right. It's your appointment or removal of the commissioners, but I will say this. There is a concept of different government bodies, the school, the water authority, the county commission being co-equal. That does not protect you against nefarious malfeasance. And when you start talking about what's been going on here, we're not talking about governance issues, we're talking about some serious stuff. And we can pretend that we don't want to get involved, but a lot of money's gone. And that's the money that came out of the taxpayer. So, you know, I would hope that we don't hide behind the idea that they're a co-equal branch and we can't touch them, because that's not true.
Did you have something?
I did. I got a question about how much ARP money did we give them? Is it 5
I think
million?
it was 5.
How much did they spend?
I would have to look, but not much, if any. I'd have to look back.
They have till
About 300,000.
2026 to spend it, correct?
The end of 2026.
Is there any way that we can recall that money?
The only way that you could recall it, you would lose it. It had to be obligated by December of 24 and finish being spent by December of 26.
Could we reallocate that money if we awarded it?
I don't think you can. I will check. I don't think you can pull it back and re-obligate it.
Is it obligated now?
It's obligated now. So at the end of the term, at the end of the obligation term in December, any of these public utilities that hadn't finished spending their money, we sent out and got contracts signed with all of them to evidence the obligation. So with West Wilson Utility and all the others that Gladeville, all the others that had not finished spending their money, we have contracts with all of them. That money's obligated.
I don't know the answer to that question. That's another one I'll look at one of these days.
Yep.
You asked me to.
The other utilities spent all their money.
No, all of them.
That's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right. Anything else on this particular subject? Okay. I do want to make one comment. Since we have a corrected agenda, we do have on the agenda something related to AFT. And because of that, I asked Corey Johns if he would be present to, and I'm hoping between him and Aaron can make any corrections concerning statements that I'll make here in a minute. So that's the reason Corey's here. Okay, financial director's report.
So you do have a financial summary in there for summary financial statement for June. The only thing I'm going to point out to you, because we sort of talked about this as we were getting towards the end of the year, over on page 5, that number in bold at the top. There's still a few adjustments to come, but that 2.8, almost 2.9 million, that is what we're showing as a loss for the year. Again, 1.4 million of that we anticipated based on the budget. The rest of it is largely, increases in inmate medical and some other things. So, believe me, and Lauren being in the office will tell you, back around March, it looked like it was going to be a lot worse than that. So we did come back pretty strong. So, thankfully. So that concludes my report as far as that goes. We'll move on into the budget amendments. Very good.
Is there any questions concerning the financial statement or report? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, amendments.
First budget amendment you have is for circuit court. It is recurring for $10,000, adding money to office supplies and court attendance. The page behind that explains. It basically, she's asking for $5,000 for court attendance based on increase in trials and also increase in pay for court attendance And she's shown you down there in 23, 24, 24, 25, her file folder cost for 23, 24 was $18,000. For 24, 25, it was $25,000. So her file folder cost has increased quite a bit. That's why she's asking for the money.
Motion approved.
Yeah, I have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Second one, the section of the budget that this is in, 58,400, there really isn't a committee to go through, but this is the money that you guys approved back several years ago to go to the airport.
Can I make?
Sure,
a comment?
Mr. Chief. Well, I don't think I'm
Okay,
allowed
go
to say
ahead,
that.
go ahead.
I think Mr. Marlowe would have to recognize you.
Okay.
May I make?
Sir.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the rep, the county rep on the airport commission. And the total economic impact of the Lebanon airport is in excess of $61 million. Payrolls over 21 million and other spending over 2 million. It's ranked the 4th overall busiest aviation airport in the state. It has over 200 aircraft that are based there. And the state has reduced funding based on a limit of gas tax that they charge to FedEx and Southwest Airlines. As a result of that, the airport is getting less and less money. And they have many projects that we're anticipating doing. We're involved in building 70 additional private hangars. Currently, we have many hangars that they all pay property tax to the county. And these hangars would also pay property tax to the county. But in order to build these hangars, we have to do some matching funds for the state financing up to 5 and 10%. And that's what this money would be used for. So this is a really good investment for the county in getting more property tax, and we need that in the county. Plus, many businesses use that airport that come here. And if you recall, years and years ago, when people came in and started businesses along 840, and they still fly in here, they go to the auction to buy automobiles. There was an executive jet there earlier today, and there are more and more that are come all the time now. Sue Banana's brother has an executive jet that's currently at John Tuna. He wants to move it back to Lebanon, and he was there today. He wants to build a 100 by 120 feet hangar that's going to be in excess of $1 million. In addition, one of the current hangars just sold for $2.3 million. So these hangars are getting more and more expensive. So that will enable us to increase our property tax on those. They lease the land from the city, but they actually own the hangar. So I'm hoping that you would approve of this amendment. Thank you.
Aaron, do we currently give the airport funds at this point?
25,000 at this point. This would move it to 50.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right. The next one is Judicial Commissioner's Office. I believe Corey's here if you need to ask him a question. Basically, he's requesting to move one of his part-time people, convert that money into a full-time position. It would require $23,604 in money that he doesn't have. He has the money except for benefits. And if Corey needs to speak to it, if he's here, yep. Corey, you can.
The reason I want, and for those of y'all that don't know, back June 19th, that employee get hurt. She's still not back. As of Friday night at 1 o'clock in the morning, I had a part-time person leave. No notice, just left. I'm willing to give up one of my part-time spots from 4 to 3 by moving a person into full-time. It can help me scheduling. I can depend on, and that's gonna fill a big void. And I have the money for the salary currently in that line, and I just was short the benefits. It was explained a little last night why the numbers fluctuated, and I understand a little bit better, but status quo to me means the same, so.
Motion approved.
There is a motion and a second. Is there any other comments?
How's it going over there, Corey?
We are adjusting to new things.
Understand?
That's a good answer.
Been around a lot of politicians.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
The next one is really moving Betsy Jakowski firmly onto the pay plan. We had, her probation salary was basically tied to the pay plan, but back several years ago when she took over directly as Director of Juvenile Services, she was given a flat rate of $10,000, which was not being adjusted. Judge Tatum was the one who brought that to us back several years ago. He and Betsy approached me and, they were concerned that that 10,000 portion of her salary was not being adjusted by, 2% steps and other things like that. My answer back is basically that that 10,000 by itself would be outside the pay plan. It would never have a cap. There would be no step 16, at which point it stops. It would go on forever. So what we decided to do was to take the probation and the juvenile services, put them together, which moves her to, I believe, grade 11, step 12. So that basically it will comply with the pay plan. For all these numbers on here, the net effect of this budget amendment is $811. It's moving money out of juvenile services into probation to put it all in one place. The only thing that's required here to make it all go is $811. So,
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
the next two, there are actually contracts in your packet that go with it. You may have to come back and address these contracts separately, but it makes sense to me for us to kind of look at them together. The first one, well, I'm gonna take them maybe not in the order they appear in your packet, but I want the $19,840 first. That is for tasers. I believe you said primarily for courtroom security officers. It's $19,000 a year for 4 years, or 3 years, excuse me, paid for out of the courtroom security money. So this is money that basically can only be spent for stuff related to courtroom security, so it's a good use of it.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comments or questions?
Got a comment.
Yes, sir.
It says for additional 3 years, let's make sure we track that and
Yes, sir.
it doesn't reoccur after the third year.
Yes, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Likewise, the next one is related to cameras for cars, I believe. And it's for cars that haven't been outfitted yet. It's $37,244 for 3 years. Coming from the general fund, I have made that correction on my copy. It will be corrected in your packet because in the bottom, yours still says it's coming from litigation tax. That's not true. It's coming from the general fund to outfit those 15 cars.
Motion. Approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I have the same comment.
Yes, sir.
Just make sure we have it for, after 3 years, we'll revisit that.
Yes, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
The last budget amendment that I have is WEMA. Again, there's a lot of lines on this budget where we were cleaning up roster, agreeing hours with what they had. The end effect of all this is that we're putting $62,500 back into the fund balance. So it comes out in our favor in the end.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye. Is there any need to look at the two
The
contracts?
reason I need your approval on the contracts is because both of these, we're acquiring assets that we're paying for over a period of time, so these are considered issuances of debt, even though there is no interest. So that's the only reason really that I need your approval on the contracts.
Can we make a motion to approve both contracts at one time?
You okay with it?
I'm okay.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next thing in your packet is surplus property from the sheriff's department.
And this, from what I understand, this is all property that will be destroyed.
I believe that's correct, yes, sir.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And Mr. West?
School system.
You have our budget in front of you. First one is $77,581. That's for grant money and donations come in, we're assigned it. Would encourage you to pay attention to that. Like the FRC funds, that's our Family Resource Center. It's our backpack program, that's where food are going home to kids throughout the year. A lot of that's money's coming in from, we've got restricted, now we're getting back where we can spend it for this purpose. There's others on there, just Dick's Sporting Goods, also BJ, that's where they have been a tremendous partner with this county schools since they've been here. Just unbelievable what they're doing. Theirs is going straight to the backpack program. You get the Tennessee Valley Robotics. So a lot of these people that are coming in here are giving back to our schools. I don't know that I do a good enough job of letting people know that. That's the first one. Second one is moving some money to academics, staff development, $217,400. Finally, the last one is the teacher bonus budget. We got that money in, and it will be going to our teachers. Plan on getting it to them by the end of the month once it gets approved. We're going to run a special payroll. And I will say, the state tells you negative $2,000. That covered our employee expense, but not employee expense and benefits. And so I just want to make that clear. We had nothing to do with that. That's money in. You don't have anything to do with that. That's money in, money out, and it does come. We did go ahead and figure it. We've made notice to our teacher who will run a special payroll once it gets approved by the commission, and they're going to get a $1,300 some bonus.
They gave you $2,000 per recipient, basically.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say that because I wanted to clear up something that I probably was not intended to be said the way it was said earlier, but it doesn't sit well with me when somebody says they can't figure out how to gross up a check to make it come out to $2,000. That's insulting. And
We can't do that.
And, yeah, so they could, if they were required, gross up a check to, but they were not given 2,000 to, they were not given enough to make the check be 2,000. So I just wanted to point that out.
IRS.
Yep.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Well, what that happens if they donated it tax-free, and that doesn't, no difference to the employees' longevity checks for the class.
Right,
It's
right.
the same principle, and you have to pay taxes.
The insinuation was that they just weren't able to figure out how to gross the check up. That was the insinuation. And, I just took exception to that, that's all.
And then the last one is moving some fund balance money, go ahead and start some projects, parking lot maintenance and repairs. We will be looking, we own that Barry Tatum, the old Barry Tatum Academy, the old VFW building, I think I've been told it was. We thought about getting rid of that, but we've got two portables that our transportation are using that are in terrible shape. We're gonna go over there and do some work to move our transportation main office to that building, and so moving this money. And also Mount Jude Elementary, it's time to start. That building was built with, I call them motel packs for heat and air. And we've had some trouble, and it's 20 years old now, I think, and we're gonna start a renovation project for replacing it this year too, and that's what this, we're going to get started, to get this place approved.
Your motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other questions or concerns? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, next on our agenda deals with AFT, and it's something that come out of planning and, what is it, planning and zoning? Okay, and what I'd like to do here for the benefit of for some folks that probably weren't at the planning and zoning meeting or have not seen the information that come out of there, I'd like to share a small amount. I'm not the whole thing, because that was a bunch of information. But Wilson County Commercial AFT, as of right now, mirrors the building permits with a $5,000 minimum at this point. Based on the figures related to commercial construction since 2020, Wilson County has earned a little more than 8 cents per square foot for AFT. Okay, that's not very good. Rutherford, Trousdale, Murray County have a rate of $1.50 a square foot, and it's capped at $150,000
Square feet.
I mean, 150,000 square feet. That's the reason I've got it here. And, and that caps at 150,000 square feet or $225,000 max. Sumner County has a rate of 40 cents a square foot. Williamson County has a rate of 34 cents a square foot. Robeson County, 30 cents a square foot. Dixon County, 25 cents a square foot. I think most people would agree with me that it's essential for Wilson County to be competitive with those people around us, but at a little over 8 cents per square foot, we are definitely not competitive. Just a comparison, back in 2023, there was a building constructed on Richard Petty Way that equaled 618,912 square feet. The permit cost $61,891. The AFT also cost $61,891. If our AFT, commercial AFT rate at that time had been 50 cents a square foot, we would have instead collected $309,456. And looking at our heavy commercial projects since 2020, about 75% required a facility that equaled 100,000 to 500,000 square feet. So unlike 3 of the counties above, I don't think it would be a very good idea to cap ours at 150,000 square feet. Nor would it be to our advantage, though, to raise our AFT to a rate that would prevent substantial commercial growth in the future. Aaron, I think at this time, doesn't commercial property tax is about 30% of our budget?
That's probably true, sir. I have not looked specifically at commercial property tax.
And if commercial growth is substantially decreased or eliminated due to a very high AFT, those much needed funds would have to come from somewhere else, which would be residential property tax probably. Currently, all AFT funds are split 1/3 to capital projects and 2/3 to general debt service. To make, and this is just something to me, to make any increase more acceptable for those out there that's going to be paying the commercial AFT, a portion of these funds could go toward needs that directly affect the commercial facilities or properties that are close proximity. That includes roads, sewer, water, electric, etc. If it's permissible, so we can have discussion, I would like to get this on the table by making a motion to set our commercial AFT at 50 cents a square foot with no minimum and no maximum, and to direct 50% of the commercial AFT to a commercial facilities needs fund.
The state doesn't get like my other last push.
With no minimum, no max, and to direct 50% of the commercial AFT to a commercial facilities needs fund.
Sounds like an awful broad term to me. And do we have the ability to do that, Aaron?
Yes, I've already asked you.
Well, I did say I wanted to ask Mike. I think on the commercial side, I think we can direct it somewhere other than the 1/3, 2/3 split where it now goes. We've directed, it was directed slightly differently before, when it was raised from 1,000 to 3,000, it was redirected. And of course, we're not tied like we are to the residential, where basically all we can do is raise the rate. We have more leeway on the commercial, as you already know. So I think you can direct this where you want it to go as far as the commercial AFT is concerned. Again, I defer to Mike as the county attorney. We've always said we don't want to do anything that messes up our, private act. But I don't know that directing this money somewhere different is a problem for us.
Okay. One more question, I guess. There'll have to be a motion made and passed to untax from the building permit fees.
Yes.
First and foremost.
Again, I defer to the county attorney on that, but currently it is tied to the commercial building permit fees.
So we'll have to take care of that.
And planning and zoning didn't have meeting before last, separate those?
Yes.
Make the recommendation,
Yes.
so it'll come up here, yes.
Okay, before we get into any further discussion, can we get a second? And then we'll go from there, because we'll change it, I'm sure.
I'll second it for,
Okay.
just to move it along for discussion.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all putting me back on the road commission. Probably the worst kept secret in the county commissions. Ever since I've been on the road commission, I've been trying to find a way that road commission can actually build roads, widen one-lane roads,
Yeah.
widen narrow bridges, improve bridges. There is no funding source. The reason we don't do that is because we have maintenance funding. And so the road commission, and not this meeting, but last meeting, unanimously requested that commercial AFT be directed for capital improvement projects for road creation. We have no funding source for that. The reason I think it's a good idea to do it that way is because it tells the public we're trying to manage growth, and it actually shows that we're doing something. And commercial investment does stress our roads, probably more than anything, probably WEMA too, I'll admit that, but mainly roads. And when you meet a big truck on a small one-lane road, you find out real quick, you wish you had another lane there. But anyway, I just wanted to remind the budget committee that vote did take place. They are asking for it. Thanks.
Have a question?
Yes, sir.
I was at the meeting when you discussed this earlier. Is my impression that you had passed $2 per square foot at that meeting?
That was recommended.
That was a
to bring to the
recommendation.
budget committee.
That was a recommendation to the budget committee? Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you had passed that you wanted to bring it to the budget committee. Okay.
Well, we did pass it, but that's, like I say, it's a recommendation brought up here.
And another thing, it would affect all the cities in the county as well. So, and there are a lot of people building in the cities, as you know. And I know Lebanon has a data center that is on their agenda. I don't know if they've approved it or not, but that's many, many square feet as well. And so that may affect if these companies are coming there or not. And I don't know if Corey knows about this or not, but I'm sure he does.
You better. We'll talk after.
My question is, Mr. Chairman, is 50 cents, is that fair enough? I mean, no, not say fair enough, is it wise enough for us to put it at 50 if we're gonna go ahead and raise it?
50 cents won't generate the type of revenue that Bobby's talking about from our real road improvements. What's the price on the small portion of the railroad bed in there?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that.
I mean,
Everybody
just
knows
one
East
small
Division, right?
project.
Y'all know East Division?
The first year,
Well-
take care of that, won't they?
Well, I understand that, but at the same time, the people that are charging the $1.50 are on a different type of program that we're on. They have caps. And at this point in time, we don't have a cap. And if we put our AFT so high that it keeps people from coming into our county, then you're not gonna have any money to build anything with anyway.
Yes, sir.
Tell them what you pay for Kevin,
Yeah,
Mr. Marlon. Of course, you got something to point out right there.
Okay,
yeah.
hang on a second. Sorry, go ahead.
Right now.
Some analysis that Commissioner Breeze had worked up and that we built off of, at 50 cents a square foot based on these historical projects. So back to 2020 until May, $744,985.89 were collected on AFTs only in the unincorporated areas of Wilson County. This does not include AFTs in Lebanon, AFTs in Mount Juliet, AFTs in Watertown. They were collected from a different source. So safe to assume that there's at least 2 more times the amount out there from those sources. But just looking at the county, almost 745,000 collected during that time. At 50 cents a square foot, that would have generated $4,523,825.50. So just shy of just under $3 million more over that same amount of time. And again, that's only the commercial construction in the unincorporated areas. So I mean, it's a guess. I would say that probably would have been $10 million more over that same period.
Mayor?
Commissioner Billsfield.
Oh,
Mr. Chairman, when Mr. Johns made the presentation to the P and Z committee, I think his recommendation was 44 cents a square foot. Are you comfortable with 50 cents?
So the question, I think, is where's the breaking point, right? Absolutely, you can raise this to a level where you will kill the golden goose. What is that exact breaking point? I can't answer that for you. But if I take my old Mustang GT out on the highway and I redline it and see how fast I can get it before I crack the cylinder, doesn't matter. The cylinder's still cracked and it's broken. I don't think that this is a genie we want to try to put back in the model or try to put back in the bottle. So we did at the request of members of the planning committee, we performed a data-driven analysis based on historical data and actuals. I think you may have a couple. So if I may, I'll show you a little bit of what that included. So we've already kind of gone over, this is the landscape from Middle Tennessee. This is the comparative rate. So today, our effective rate is this 8 cents a square foot, right? Way out of line with our peers. Now the trick on these, as the chairman mentioned, is that these are higher, but they're capped at 150,000. So if you want to look at competitiveness to the region, you've got to look not only at the per square foot rate, but also where the ones that have a cap are going to cap and what their total collection is going to be. He's already touched on this. We looked at the heavy users based on historical economic development projects. That range, again, the ones under the County Powers Act, they're capped at 150,000, but we found that the bulk of heavy users went up to at least 500,000 square feet, right? So there's a lot of pressure being put on by folks over 150,000 that are not paying anything more as a result of that. So to give you another snapshot, the AFT $150,000 cap, this is 50,000 square feet, 100,000 square feet, 150,000 square feet. So that's all that the ones under the County Powers Act is capturing. If we went up to 500,000 square feet for a cap, we would encompass the blue all the way around to the green. So what that means is that the ones that are under the $150,000 cap under County Powers Act, they're allowing 67% based on actuals we've seen here in Wilson County of projects that have come across the dashboard back to 2020. They're letting 2/3 of those get off without any additional contribution. Meanwhile, setting the cap at 500,000 would capture 75% of those projects in full. So back to this question about how to balance the per square foot rate versus the overall cap. As the chairman mentioned, that takes you to a $225,000 cap for the, and to be very real, Murray and Rutherford specifically are direct competitors for commercial development projects of all sorts, right? Whether we're talking about retail, restaurant, industrial, office, all of that. They're leading us in some of those categories, they're trailing us in some of those categories. But that is a very important figure in terms of defining how much higher we can stand to be before it makes an impact. So to answer your question, and I'm sorry, a verbose way, but we put a lot of time and attention to this, and I appreciate the opportunity to share here. To get to that $225,000 cap and not go over that, if you look at 500, that gets you at 500,000 square feet, so you're capturing most of the projects that are going to put the most pressure on. That recommends a rate of 45 cents a square feet. Practically, is there a difference between 45 and 50 cents a square feet? I don't think so in the vast majority of circumstances.
And of course, as soon as if we did 50, county next door, we probably do 50 as well.
If you do $1, they do $1 too.
No.
Yes, sir.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I will add one additional thing real quickly. Sumner County just looked at this. They just had a proposal where it was a consideration to conform to the County Powers Act and move to $1.50 with the 150,000 square foot cap. They're currently at 40 cents a square foot with no cap on commercial, 70 cents a square foot with no cap on residential, because your residential puts direct pressure on your school system, right? If I bring 100 jobs to our community, that puts indirect pressure. If we 100 houses, puts direct pressure on all the great things that Mr. Luttrell and his team are doing. So Sumner County just debated this, looked at conforming to the County Powers Act, and decided that was not a wise move, and that they wanted to stay at 40 cents on commercial and 70 cents on residential.
Here's my thing,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, you're on the committee.
Here's my thing, we could always lower it, right? We can come back and lower it if it's not working. So, I mean, if we're gonna move it, we need to at least move it in a wise, in a wise manner, but also, I mean, I'd like to see something go towards the roads. I mean, like what Bobby said, I can echo that. I mean, we need something that, I'm tired of being told we don't build roads, we maintain them. I get that in a way, but we got a responsibility. I mean, my district, East Division, everybody knows where that's at, right? No shoulders, no guardrails, everybody, and I agree with them. And how many times do we have to have fatalities out there? I mean, how many times do I have to see, a family lose their life out there? I mean, it's getting old. So I think we have an opportunity to generate some revenue. I think we need to be able to proportion some of it to go towards a road. So that's my 2 cents.
Yes, sir.
I'm not hearing good, so I'll probably miss, this question's for Corey, I guess. My understanding is AFT has not affected, it has not deterred growth. In fact, has encouraged growth in successful areas in the past. Seems to me, at least that's some of the information I've heard. Is that true or not true?
So
At our current rate, I would.
I can't,
I think you're right.
I can't
Yes.
definitively answer that question for you. What I
Yes.
can say is an effective rate of 8 cents a square foot compared to this being our competitors.
Yeah.
We have a massive competitive advantage, right? And a built-in incentive, right? So that's where visually,
Property taxes.
you know, if the 45 cents a square foot rate, you know, would put you right here more in the middle. And if I may, I've got one other thing that we worked out that hopefully this doesn't scare people. So what this does is this shows you Robertson, Williamson, Sumner, right? Black, blue, green. Their rates, and this is as the commercial facility size goes up. So smaller facility, larger facility. This is the amount of revenue collected. Ignore the numbers. This is the amount of revenue collected to the county government. So this is their trajectory. Now, those three counties that I mentioned, two direct competitors that are under County Powers Act, and that's really just because they didn't get their private acts through before the state put the kibosh on that, and this is the only way they can do it. They're at a much higher rate, but they're capped. This is 150,000, right? So if we were to be somewhere around 45 or 50, all this area in here still gives us a competitive advantage compared to these folks up into that cap, right? Then the question is whether that goes on, because beyond that, we would be at a competitive disadvantage, right? After a certain point, you got to catch up here. Compared to these counties, we're at a slight competitive disadvantage, right? So it would be marginally cheaper at 45 or 50 cents a square foot to build a commercial facility in Robertson, Williamson, or Sumner County, right? So they have these three, but kind of in the middle, and just so that you can understand, y'all probably see the stark outlier here. What the recommendation that came out of planning is this. Well, I won't editorialize too much. But
I guess what I'm trying to say is raising the AFT has not stopped growth. You could, I mean, they want to go where you don't want them to go. They come where you want to deter them to come because they know it's profitable and successful and they pay the money. And
the question.
that's my question. It really hadn't. No matter where it goes, I know you go to extreme on it and stop it, but anything that's moderately high, on the high end, is not deterred growth at all.
Well, we've been so low that we've been on the other end. We've been incentivizing it
We've been
built
giving it
in,
away.
right? If you go way high, because we're not the only place investment can happen.
Right.
A lot of times this is not.
That's the whole world.
Do you invest in Wilson County or not invest in Wilson County? A lot of times this is, do we invest in Wilson County or do we invest in one of these other places? And bear in mind, we get zero tax collection on every project that doesn't happen because we're at a competitive disadvantage and are overly punitive with our tax regime compared to our peers with whom we compete. We call it cooperation in the economic development space.
Thank you.
Bobby?
Yeah, there's two mayors here, there's four mayors in the county. And the other two mayors that aren't here, I'm not gonna act like I'm speaking for them. But I was an economic developer in one of them. And I'll just tell you, retail is the most competitive of all of this. And we think in terms of all these warehouses because that's mostly what the county gets and relies on. But the two mayors have done an outstanding job in Mount Juliet and Lebanon bringing retail growth to this county. I've been on the JCDB board for 18 years, 7 in Mount Juliet, 11 since I've been at the county. And in that period of time, I've only known 1 or 2 months in 18 years that the sales tax revenue has decreased 1 month over year last month. And that just says that these cities are doing an outstanding job. At $2 would strangle them. I mean, if you get too high on this, forget the warehouses. You're not going to get Sam's on Harbin Drive. You're not going to get a Publix somewhere. You're not going to get a Kroger somewhere. I mean, at some point in time, they're big buildings too. And all these communities he's drawn on this map, they want Sam's and they want Publix. And so one fear I have in this going too high is what is it going to do to the two mayors who are producing about 90% of the sales tax that's going to these schools? Because you choke them off, half of the sales tax coming in goes right straight to our school system. So there's a sweet spot in here somewhere, and I don't think it's on top of the chart.
What's your recommendation, Bob?
Yeah.
So, well, as an extension of the information there, the reason why what you're seeing is only county is because, again, this is based on building permit fees. The cities charge a different building permit fee than the county does, which in the current situation, you pay, even if we're only talking about county AFT, but the county AFT that you pay is different if you're paying in the cities versus the county, even though it's the same fee. Because you're paying based on the building permit fees in the county if you're in the county. And if you're in Mount Juliet, you're paying based on their building permit fees, which are different than the counties. And the same with Lebanon and the same with Watertown. So keep that in mind as well. So I think this would realign us in general to have one county fee, which is one issue that we're having. I think 50 cents a square foot is reasonable, and I think that, I mean, what Corey's trying to tell you is that there's a tipping point here, and commercial is gonna be very different than what you're talking about for residential, which is what I think that Pastor over here was talking about was, you know, you're not, increasing AFT doesn't decrease growth when you're talking about residential, because people are just building that into a 30-year mortgage. But you're not looking at people who are looking at, you know, do I want to live in Mount Juliet or do I want to live in Franklin? You're talking about businesses that the decision is completely different at that point. So we want to make sure that we don't outprice ourselves. So, and then I have a question. So Aaron, I think commercial last year was what, $224,000 or something like that for the whole year?
It was pretty low, yeah.
Yeah, I think, so that was for our entire fiscal year. We brought in I think it's $224,000 in commercial. So with that in mind, would it hurt us if instead of this 50% of commercial, if we actually took 100% of the commercial AFT, that we set it at a reasonable rate with a reasonable cap that kept us competitive, and we took all the commercial and put it into a fund to be able to use for commercial facilities, I guess is what it was, or commercial needs, and that would include, I think you could limit it to two things: one, roads, and two, potential sewer access. So if you limited to those two things and you took 100% and put it in a fund, I don't think it would hurt us.
That would take some away from schools.
Well,
You
okay,
can't take 100% of it.
but commercial AFT only generated $224,000 last year. Period.
What would it have generated?
The rest of it generated, I mean, I think the rest of it, we were about, what, 11 million or so? Something like that with AFT. I wish I had the numbers in front of me, but in total, I think AFT generated about 11 million. The majority of that is residential. So I'm not talking a touch of residential. I'm talking commercial in general is not generating much of anything. At
Okay.
which point, if you diverted that commercial stream to be able to do these other things, you would still have all of your AFT for residential, which is where the majority of the funds are coming from. And maybe we could actually help fix some roads, and potentially deal with some of these sewer access issues that we're dealing with. And I don't think it hurts us.
Mayor, you just want to say something?
Yeah, I think, you know, when we look at it, we definitely have left money on the table, no question. If you go 50 cents, you're higher than everybody on here really, especially if the building is above 150,000 square feet. Your 50 cents is 40 cents for Sumner County, so you're above them, you're above Robertson, you're above Williamson, and then these other ones are capped. So, and we're not capped at the 50 cents. So if you stay at the 50 cents, then you are higher than everybody on the table. So then if you want to go up later on, you can go up later on. I will say for this, for all of you in here, you've built schools, you've built WEMA stations, you've built jails, you've built court buildings. We haven't done anything for roads. And I really believe that we've looked at it. We've taken the road list, and said how many roads do we have out there that have 10-foot 10-foot roads, 15-foot, 20-foots, and we've kind of worked up a plan that maybe we could give you to say, if you want to widen a road in your district, it's 10 foot, you want to widen it, if you'll get the right of ways, we'll work towards putting money towards that. We had Collier come in and they gave us the top 50 roads that need to be improved. So we have those plans, and we were going to go at some point to maybe come to you guys and say, you want to put it out on wheel tax to let the people vote, pay, and put that money straight towards roads. And the people can decide where they want to put money here, because you don't have any money to pay for it. So in my mind, I mean, I'm not against you having a fund to help bring other businesses here with, you know, you can use that commercial fund to bring other people here and say, we'll take care of your road, your sewer. But I really would love to put that burden on them to come and take care of a need that's been a need for us a long time that we haven't touched, and that is roads. So I mean that, now, also I think it's important, as Aaron pointed out earlier, we're 1.4 in the whole, 2.9 overall, but 1.4 we knew it was going to be. I mean, we're starting to employ everybody. The last several years, we've had money left over after the budget, and we've grown our fund balance. But lately, this year, we went in the hole, and there's probably no reason we won't do that again next year unless you find other revenue. You know, that's why I cautioned you about the interest income. It was extra money we didn't expect, but we need that to stay afloat. So every time we dig into the fund balance now, it still kind of hurts my heart a little bit, because I know it's going. I mean, it's going down, and we're not. The ship's not sinking, but we've got to pay attention, I think, with this, because we were gaining money earlier because we didn't employ everybody. Now we are, and so we really got to work on that. So my thinking is, I mean, the 50 cents seems to be at a good level or a decent level above everybody else on the table today, but it needs to go towards roads if you can.
The whole 100% or a certain percentage?
Well, I don't know how to work that, because right now with the way it's geared with the our private act, a third, 2/3 is a split. So I think probably you could look at the numbers and say, hey, I know you make journal entries from time to time and say, hey, every year we'll put X number of dollars out of that in the roads.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have to do that. You wouldn't have to change it.
If I understand it correctly, I don't care where the AFT comes from, if it's commercial or residential, it's divided up 1/3 and 2/3.
Today, that's correct.
But that's us. That's not the private act, is it?
I think the one.
That's our self-imposed.
No, it's in the private act, but it's not for commercial. If you look at the private act under commercial, there's like 3 sentences. Basically, it says is that Wilson County has the right to impose a commercial AFT with a vote of 2/3 of the county commission.
Well, I understand all that, but
Okay.
if we put 100% of it to roads, that's gonna be, even though you're saying it's not a whole lot of money, we're gonna be taking away from capital projects and general debt service. And I would prefer not to do that, but I'm just one vote.
I just don't think we're taking that much away is the thing.
You're trying to think, you're saying that it just can go where it wants to, but I know it says that in the private act, but in the very end, it says out of all that collection, 1/3 and 2/3 is where those monies go, regardless of what you charge.
I think it's like that for residential. I don't think it is for commercial. I think commercial is different.
I think it encompasses all AFT, and I could be definitely wrong.
Double check me, but that's how I read it, was, yeah.
Y'all set up your 2/3 and 1/3 by resolution.
Yeah.
You didn't do it
Yeah.
through the
It's not in the
private
private act.
Yeah,
act. Yeah, it's by resolution.
yeah.
2/3 general debt service.
It's our own.
Right, but that resolution
Right.
by effect, however y'all want to do, that resolution is only as good as the next resolution. It has to be used for capital
Right.
projects,
13
period.
votes.
Yeah.
Adequate facilities tax, commercial, residential, whatever else, has to be used for capital projects, whether that's to pay debt on a capital project or whether that's to actually pay cash for a capital project. It has to be used for, or bill of roads, it's a capital project. But as far as where you direct it to pay the capital project expenditures, that's up to you guys.
Jeff?
Like the private act doesn't say where that money
No,
goes.
It's not in the private act.
It's not in there.
I agree with the road. We need roads. My question, when I sit here and listen to this conversation, if you take away that funding mechanism, you're taking away future growth, and we're still gonna have to build schools. And I will work, it concerns me that we would go from 1/3, 2/3 to zero going towards your, when that's where our schools are being funded from, our new schools. So you're limiting your ability, you may solve the road problem, but you're limiting the ability in the future for your biggest ticket item.
It was only 100 grand last year.
Yep, but what it could have been.
Yeah, it's
I got a list of what schools we need to build, and so where am I going to come back for funding with that if that mechanism of funding is gone? But I do agree that we need to do something with roads, so.
So, but the AFT is not a large part of what we set aside for general debt service to fund our schools. We've lived off of that tax rate, not necessarily the AFT. The AFT has been low. I mean, it's some of what we put in there when we forecast to pay general debt, but it's not a lot, and he really limits that low. But and this is going to be in addition to whatever I already had to begin with. Correct? So I'm not taking anything away. I mean, I'm with you. I'm not going to put myself in a spot I can't fund the school.
That's all I'm saying.
This is additional funds that we're not counting on today, and we don't even count on the whole 5 when we forecast right now for schools. So this is in addition to, but I really thought the private act limited us.
It's a separate resolution. It's
Yeah.
all 13 votes.
Jeff, it's
Now,
$148,000.
can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
That
but
went
if
into
you
debt
went
service.
this rate, it would be $4 million.
Why does it have to be all?
And it's all comes out of weak
Why
point.
can't you leave what you're coming in on your 8 cents? Instead, you got an
I know where
8
you're
cent
headed.
effective rate.
Then you're gonna put it on schools, we gotta rate property tax.
Hang on. Go ahead.
Why can't you leave what you're bringing in right now on your 8 cents, right where you deposited it? And then figure out what you're gonna do with the other 42 cents or 40 cents or $1.50 or whatever the difference is. And designate it to go somewhere, as long as it's a capital project. It's gotta be a capital project.
So why not make it 58 cents?
But I think what I was asking a while ago was whatever that determining number is, we can make a journal, I mean, you could make that, you could put that much money, kind of like you do with sales tax and we duck and moving that money back and forth, so we don't have to say, it don't have to be 100% of it. And I guess.
That's what I said, not all or nothing.
Yeah.
Leave the 8 cents where it is, don't even talk about it.
It could be whatever we realize the gain is at the end of the year could be moved. We could see what that gain is going to be and then make that move at the end of the year.
My motivation all along from starting this conversation with planning and zoning was for the new portion, not to mess with what's existing. I mean, that was stated in planning and zoning to begin with.
Can we come back next month with and get a little more data on this and talk about it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But you're gonna lose a month of revenue.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose, yeah.
Yeah,
You are.
to do the math based on what the mayor just suggested, keep the 8 cents, if you rounded it to 10 cents, if you did 50 cents and you took 10 cents and kept it where it is and took 40 cents out, that's an 80-20 split. So 20% of commercial AFT would stay put where it is, and then 80% would designate into a new fund to pay for roads. So mathematically, that's how it would work if you wanted to do it that way, and it's probably cleaner than pennies.
That makes sense?
Yeah. I like that.
Would you motion?
I'll change my motion. Instead of, it'd still be 50%. It's like, I mean, 50 cents per square foot.
Yeah.
Like I said, but instead of 50% going to a commercial AFT fund, facilities needs fund, 40%. 40 cents. I can't get that percent in cents.
I mean, 80 cents, or 80%.
Yeah, 40 cents will go to roads, and 10 cents will be divided 1/3, 2/3 to capital projects and general debt service.
Yeah. So if you did 80% to your roads fund,
Well, do you want it, instead of, when you say roads, are you wanting it to go to Fund 131, or are you wanting it to go somewhere where you control, or what do you want?
It needs to be for road improvement,
For road improvement?
capital projects.
So if we put it in the Highway Capital Projects Fund, Fund 176, if we put it in the highway, I'm just trying to figure out how you guys maintain control. Instead of, not that this is necessarily a problem, do you want the road commission to control the money, or do you want, I don't know.
take your original motion and second off the floor so this thing doesn't get complicated.
I think we need to control.
So moved, take it off floor.
I think we better control it.
You're
Well, I
leaving.
should have said please.
Okay. Do I need to restate my motion?
It's a new
What
motion.
you're basically saying is 50 cents, no cap, 40 cents goes to roads, 10 cents stays with the same split we got now.
Yes, sir.
I'll dress that up a little bit.
Okay.
So we'd go back to, I think, to cover what you're saying, is we put that in a fund, and let the road superintendent appear before the commission and say, here's where these dollars are going.
It may be okay just to, I mean, again, you guys now talk to whoever the road commissioners are to direct, you know, hopefully get done what you want to get done, and so that's probably fine. I'm just asking the question. I've got to figure out, once we figure out it's going to roads, I've got to figure out, is it going into 176 highway capital projects? Are we creating something else?
Does 176 bring it back here before it's approved?
All that money basically is in, if it's in 176 or 131, it's completely in control of the road department.
The road commission?
Road commission, sorry, excuse me.
I don't like that.
So you can put it in a fund, let it build what it builds, and then Mr. Murphy can come and say, hey, we're fixing to do Eastover Road. We're gonna need $3 million out of that fund, and we're gonna set that project.
Yes.
And then you always are in
And we
control
approve, yes.
with that. And he's going to have to contract with somebody else anyway to do it, because he doesn't do that. So he would do that bids. I think he would be okay with this. I haven't had that conversation with him, but that would make it built. That way you would know, hey, we set this money aside, taxpayers would know as well, and here's the road to go into. I mean, because I would probably ask you later on somewhere to say, hey, to put it out on a referendum, to put a wheel tax towards that too. Because it's gonna take, as Tommy said, well, it's gonna take big dollars. I mean, if it's four spots on Eastover, just putting guardrail, it's $3 million bucks. Yeah, East Division, excuse me.
Yeah, I thought, whoa.
Okay,
And we're not messing with the school.
Yeah.
can you make what he just said, include that in my motion?
Yeah, what I heard,
Way to go.
Good thing this is being recorded, right?
what I heard was Aaron was asking if it's gonna go to 176 or 131, it's not going anywhere. Either one of those, it's going to whatever y'all call it, education, not education.
So at this point,
What was it you called it? Community
And commercial.
Facility Needs Fund.
Road facility.
Roads.
No.
Road.
That's what he was trying to.
Road improvement fund.
All right, so what are you saying then? Because if you're saying Steve Murphy, if you're saying you put this money in the roads and Steve Murphy's gotta come here, he does not. He goes to the road commission, gets 3 votes.
You need new funds, but this fund would be a fund that you control here, the county commission controls. And he would come before you to ask for that money to fix a road
My
that
only
he wants to
question
do.
is, what are you calling it?
It's
What do you
a
call
Put it in one
road improvement
Road
fund,
improvement
whatever you
fund.
want to call it.
Road Improvement
now,
Fund?
it may not be a fund, because there may not be a fund that fits. I'm limited by the Uniform Chart of Accounts.
Okay, so you have to look at.
So what you may be looking at is a section in the General Capital Projects Fund, where this is basically,
Road capital project.
it'll be in Fund 189, but it'll be a separate revenue line item, and it'll have its own
I
expenditure.
stated sitting right there, and you sat there and heard it. $2 is not a real number, but 50 cents is not enough.
Yeah.
Now, we'll see about 17 votes, but me and you can sit here and spar all day about this. I'm elected by the people to represent them, and I'm trying my best to do it. You're a paid employee, and I'm getting tired of being told by you that I'm wrong. Now, I want this stated publicly, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Now, please understand me, sir. Please understand me, okay?
Okay.
Now, the county court will decide this right over there,
Right.
and that's where it's gonna wind up.
Sure.
Okay, so I don't need you sitting over there telling me what's right or wrong.
Okay, then we've gone far enough.
No, I hadn't gone near far enough, Mr. Marlowe. I mean,
We'll take it later then, please, Tommy.
I'm not ashamed for it to be done in public.
Well, I understand that, but.
That's where a lot more things need to happen, so people understand what is going on. Now,
If you got the name,
I called it a Road Improvement Fund,
okay,
because that's the last thing I heard.
Does that you, Aaron?
I can make it work. Whether it will actually be a completely separate fund, I cannot promise you. It may be a section within a fund, but tracks the revenue and expenditures related to these road improvements.
Okay, so the motion that's been made is at 50 cents a square foot and with
No cap.
no cap, no minimum, no cap. Because the reason I say no minimum, because I think that will help our little people. So let's just say no minimum also. And 80%,
I stayed with cents.
okay,
40 cents goes to the, whatever the road improvement fund, 10 cents stays with the same split that we've got right now.
okay. That is my motion. Is there a second?
Can I second it again to move it forward for discussion on the amount?
Sure, yes.
Okay. Now, let me state something. Everybody keeps saying that we're gonna kill growth, we're gonna stop this. From what I'm researching, I'm not a smart man, but I can read Google as well as anyone. The main things this county has offered to the public for is commercial growth. The type of commercial growth we're talking about is logistics and real estate prices. And it's proven every time one of these rezonings comes up here. Time and time again. These people are not coming here, they're speculators. You know, you want to talk about Snyder Electric. Did Snyder actually build a building, Corey?
No, they lease it.
That's exactly right. So those people were willing to come in this county and take that chance because they knew it was good financial business. And that will continue, and I agree, there is a point where it will. There's always going to be a point where you can break it. But 50 cents is not enough.
May I address that? So, the developer put their capital at risk to build a speculative building that they had no tenant for. Schneider came along and took that building.
Exactly.
At the current rate, and this is not per
But
square
Schneider's
foot.
not paying a dime of this.
This is, they are building a second building for the second project that we won because we won the first project, right? And as I've stated before, I can't predict or say anything, Schneider is still in a generational growth method and they're paying wages that are 25% above our current county median wage. I've offered you opportunities, I think 3 different opportunities to tour that facility and see what's
That's
happening
irregardless of
in
this.
there. So to look at, since we're back on the $2 number, that building paid, when it was constructed, it paid $24,103.90 in AFT. I think everyone here understands that that is incredibly low. However, at $2 a square foot, they would have paid $1,004,156. So that's a $976,000 increase. What are the chances that that building is never built because of that factor, or is built literally 2 parcels away in Rutherford County for $224,000 as opposed to $1 million in AFT? Again, we can kill the golden goose. I don't think we want to find out what that magic number is. And as the mayor's articulated, with no cap at 50 cents for a 450,000 square foot building and above, we're actually going to be the highest out of all these, because the ones that don't have a cap are at a lower rate, and the ones that have a higher rate have a cap. So we're already going to be setting the bar. And then we'll find out how competitive. It's not just Schneider or discussions around what types of.
Kept bringing up, is why I brought
The city of Lebanon approved through their industrial development board $1.5 million grant to bring Aubrey's to Lebanon because the citizens were asking for more sit-down restaurants. I don't know how many square feet that building is, but if you add a $2 square foot AFT on top of that, does it happen? Does Costco come to Mount Juliet? Does Mount Juliet have to put more into that to secure that project, to keep it from going to other communities, again, peer communities that we compete with? So
what did Mount Juliet have to give Costco to come?
It was an $8 million grant. So I don't know how many square feet that building is, but if we added additional costs on top of that, what would that have to be? So I think at a certain point, there are questions where, and again, to go back to the 3 or 3.25% of this county's landmass are commercial or industrial use. They produce 33% of the property tax collections. If you didn't have that today, your effective property tax rate on the homeowners would have to be $2.74 and $274.38. That is in the range of where Metro Davidson is for the General Services District of Davidson County.
Okay, we, at this point in time, we do have a motion and we do have a second.
I'd like to make an amendment to the motion, Mr. Mayor. You consider it $1 square foot and no cap.
No, sir, I won't consider that.
Now, I will make another statement. I hope everybody will agree with this. Whatever we send next door takes 17 votes to pass. So it doesn't take but a handful being opposed to whatever we send over there to kill it. So why wouldn't we try to find some middle ground before we send it over there and it just gets defeated?
Well,
I mean, is that not realistic?
well, that's your opinion, and I appreciate your opinion, but I think based on most of what I've heard in this room, that 50 cents is a good number.
And no cap. Is that what
And
you
no
said?
cap.
All due respect, I'm kind of like Tommy. I just think 50 cents is just not quite there. I don't, like I said, if we can't make $1, I mean, where can we meet at besides between 50 and $1?
51?
That throws off all the math there.
I mean,
That's why we pay these people, to do the math.
you know, I understand what's being said, but I'm looking at what's out there right now and what people are charging and what counties and municipalities are getting. At 50 cents with no cap is going to put us higher than everybody else around us. We can always go up later on down the road. And I don't see any other, I don't see why we wouldn't start at a reasonable spot at this point in time.
I would just add, I agree with you, logistics and people wanting to be here, real estate is why they come. I don't know how much they pay attention to this fee, but it can get to a point to where it does make a difference to them somewhere.
Well, we all agree
Yeah.
on that, Mayor.
And I think, but I think for us, since 50 cents is the highest, if we could stay with that for at least a year, just see what it does. And then revisit it in a year, and if we need to go to 60, and then 70, and then 80, I mean, and just see how that water goes, because, I mean, we do need commercial development. I mean, we've got.
My question
Yeah.
to that is, I shouldn't interrupt, I apologize. But look how many years we've been trying to get to this point and raising it up.
Yes. I don't think I don't think nobody ever paid attention to it. It was 8 cents. I mean, we just now kind of got on our radar that it was 8 cents, and then we lost it. Oh man, we ought to be doing something. But now the other AFT we've raised over time, but I didn't recognize this was a revenue source out there until it got brought up, or whoever brought it up. Somebody brought it up, but commercial AFT was good. So, I mean, and 8 cents to 50 cents is a pretty good jump. So if we could gradually go that way up, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I'm just going to 2 cents in there.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
You could always put an escalator clause in there. You're gonna start with 50 cents and then 2 years go to 75 automatically, and then 2 more years you go to $1. And anytime you see it's not working out, you're gonna always kill it. Replace one resolution with another, correct? Mr. Mayor?
We're allowed to raise taxes without voting on that?
Yeah, y'all took that.
Yeah, we said.
No, but he's saying making an automatic increase every year?
No.
Yeah. No, or he's talking about an escalator clause, which is yes, an automatic increase, but you could vote that down. But instead of voting for it, you got voted out.
Now, the motion on the floor is the way it's going to stand for right now. We have a motion and a second. Unless there's something else that needs to be said, we're gonna take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
No.
Okay, motion passes 3-2. Okay,
Before we leave this fund, you still need to do your resolution, I think, to divide it out from the building permit. Because the figure we're doing is not 8 cents, it's based on the whatever amount of building.
It's an effective rate.
Yeah, I didn't say it a while ago because I thought they'd really.
I'll make a motion to untie it from the building permit fee schedule.
Mike, there's also, I'm so sorry, there's also part of that statement that says there's a minimum of 5,000. Probably needs to be removed as well, I'm guessing.
Minimum of 5,000.
Minimum of 5,000, so it's the building
5,000
permit.
what?
Dollars.
Your motion is.
It's tied, it's a building permit, but if the building permit based on the square footage is less than $5,000, there's a minimum a commercial AFT of 5,000.
what was passed, did it take care of that?
Well, if you have to decouple it from the building permit, I'm just saying, I'm asking, do you need to decouple it from this set minimum as well?
If we cut it out of the building permit, why would, there wouldn't be any minimum or maximum?
It should do away with all of it.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's all, I'm just trying to be safe, that's all.
So there's a motion and a second on the floor to, what was that word y'all used?
Untie it from the,
Decouple?
yeah, decouple is a word they came up with.
Decouple.
Okay. The motion is, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, one other thing, old business, White versus Wilson County.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring you up to date on that. That was set to go to trial July 25th and 26th. It's there on motions, okay? There's not gonna be a trial, no Perry Mason stuff, any of that. Because it's basically, the facts are not in dispute, how you interpret them legally may or may not be. But we had an agreement with the attorneys for the other side that we would go until Thursday before the trial on Monday to file anything, any pleadings that we wanted to do, okay? But on Thursday morning, they submit an affidavit from Sam Edwards that's a sworn testimony, which means puts testimony into it. So they put me in a position of having to request a continuance to counter that. And so I threw together a motion real quick. We got the chancellor on the phone and he gave the plaintiffs the opportunity. He said, you can withdraw your motion and we'll try it Monday, and we'll give him a continuance to counter that. So they chose to go with a continuance. The matter is set for August 25 and 26. I am defending what this county commission did. I'm fine with it. Don't anybody misinterpret that statement. My question to you, and the only reason I had it put on there tonight is there a legislative solution to this? If there is, it's got to be done by the night we meet August 18th. If not, we go to trial. And that we could win, we could lose, it could get sent back, either side could appeal. So there's a lot of things there. If you can reach an agreement, and I don't have anything to present to you, but if you reach an agreement, you take all those other options off the table. But this thing could go on if we appeal it or whatever, whether we lose or they lose, it can go on for another year or 2 years. So I'm just throwing it out there. If you got one last chance to do it, if you don't want to do it, then make a difference.
Can I ask a question, Mike,
Yes.
to make sure I understand the lawsuit? I asked you this in the past, but I just want to
I
hear.
hope I can give you the same.
This is, I hope so.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
This lawsuit is about the procedure we went through, not about
correct.
the vote taken.
That's correct.
Okay.
But the affidavit of Mr. Edwards is, it's common, and I'm summarizing, maybe not well, but it's common practice out in the planning world that you don't do it this way. Now, here's my counter, and I know everybody's tired. You don't want to sit here and listen to me all night. But we put out a public notice that we were going to consider this. We considered it. you substituted a resolution, which we do from time to time, y'all know, primarily in the budget area. But we substituted that, came up to a vote, and it passed. Now, if we've got to go back and advertise every time we want to make an amendment or a substitute, it's gonna be hard to do the business of government. Because y'all are about to do 14 or 15, you probably don't realize it when you read the caption, but you're about to do 14 or 15 amendments in 10 days, 11 days. So, and I know planning rules are different, but it's a small jump there to say, well, the public thought you were gonna, let's take this for example. The public thought you were gonna do 50 cents per square foot. But when you got there that night, somebody made a motion to substitute 45.
Yeah.
Okay? And then, so somebody else told me, that's not what you advertised. And we've got people out there that will do that, I can tell you, because y'all are hearing from them. So that concerns me, okay? I don't want there to be an order to go down that says we have to do that, okay? That's the only reason I'm throwing it out.
He's got one thing, Mr. Marlowe.
I got one thing and I'll be quick, I promise.
I guess I'm done now.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Hey, so what are we,
I don't have anything proposed to you. I'm just telling you
Where he
what
is.
all the different things that could happen.
okay, well, give us an example of what we could do to make this go away.
Well, we tried it once before and it didn't get out of here. They made a proposal to reduce the 80,000 to 60,000. And I don't think it even got out of the committee. So it never got there. And I don't know how you tinker with it other than to do something like that. And I'm not advocating that, I'm not opposing it. I'm just telling you. In my opinion, there's some things that have to be decided in court, okay? If you and I are in a wreck and you run the red light and you say not, we gotta decide that in court. But this really cries out for a legislative solution rather than a judicial solution. But we'll get one in
But what it
13 days.
boils down to, we either acted appropriately or not,
I can't say that, Tom.
because
The
it's
question-
procedural.
It's a procedural
We
thing.
either acted appropriately or not.
No, I can't go appropriately. I can tell you that it's a procedural issue. And the question's gonna be whether the procedure we followed is right or whether it's wrong.
You know, I ain't gonna throw you under the bus, but you were asked that night, were we acting accordingly?
Do what?
I said, I don't wanna throw you under the bus, but that night you were asked, could we do this?
I did,
And you recommended that it was good.
you were totally misunderstanding me. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying, do you wanna run the risk of somebody telling you you can't do it when you might can fix it before you get there?
Well, if the judge rules that it was wrong, then the lot sizes go back to where they were at, plain and simple, right?
Or if this body votes to appeal it, or if we win and the other side votes to appeal it.
Yeah, well, I understand.
I'm just throwing out the option. I'm not,
Well,
I'm gonna defend the lawsuit. I've said that all
I'm
along.
not
I'm gonna
Mr.
defend it.
Marlowe, I think what he's trying to ask is, where is the middle ground? How do we meet in the middle on this, what this lawsuit's about?
I don't have a proposal for you, because we've got our proposal, what we did over there that night. Several months ago, the plaintiffs brought this proposal to reduce it to 60,000. And this committee, or maybe planning and zoning, didn't wanna do it. So that's where it stopped.
I mean, I thought that was
Yeah.
the means of trying to find a resolution to the problem,
Yeah,
and it
I
didn't
agree.
get any ground whatsoever.
yeah, it didn't get any traction.
We even asked the planning commission for a recommendation on it, didn't we?
I don't know if we did that or not, Tommy, but maybe we did. Okay.
We ended up deferring.
And we did.
And y'all voted not to change anything.
Is that
Yeah,
okay,
that, they voted to not change.
okay.
Mayor?
Last thing, just to kind of go back and rehash real quick, I know you don't want to hear it, but the water authority people have come to me 2 or 3 times with complaints that you've been hearing. I brought together the TDEC regulatory group, T-Deck Water, T-Deck Sewer, and T-Deck Solid Waste. Ask them all to come to a meeting, to ask them, do I have any authority over that body? They said that I do not have any authority over that body. They have it, but there's no one collective body. They all have their own different jurisdictions that are there. The issue with the school system, which we spent lots of hours looking at it, it happened because Adidas is the company that is a third-party person that works for the water authority that does the step systems, and they had an employee that left them. And this contract that we had back in an agreement in 21-22 just got left. And when the new guy came in January of 25, that's when they realized it. And when they realized it, it was too late then to do a system on site. So that's why they said, let's go to Academy. Academy had issues with TDEC from some prior notice of violations. Those notice of violations don't go to Adidas, they go to the water authority. So they send them there. So that's the company they contract with. So you say, well, do they have power over that group? Well, the power they've got, the same power we got if we don't want to fool with somebody with a copier contract. They can just get rid of them. But there's not anybody else in the business doing what they do. So that's why those are married. And I only say that because we sat back here and we are whipping the water authority for that situation. And it's really, there's a lot to go around. Our engineer said, hey, he just thought it would happen, and it just kind of got dropped in the meantime. So when we go back and talk about the water authority, they give you every 2 weeks a report on where all their dollars are spent. And we keep up with the other 3 districts that are there, and we know where their dollars are. We keep up with them monthly. We have it. None of those people have spent all their dollars. You've been told, oh, they spent their money and they're gone. They have not been. They have not. The money what was told you at one time was the other grant that Christie went after, and that was the $5 billion grant that we gave $1 million to each one of those people and $500,000 to the Stormwater Authority. And those dollars could be spent on things that were already in existence. The ARP had to be spent on dollars that were new things happening, things that had to be built, to bid out and all that stuff. That's the money that's been just out the window and gone pretty much so. So like the Water Authority spent theirs really quick. They went out here and redone all of their meters, and Wes Wilson did their stuff. So I just say that there's more to this story. I really can't, I couldn't counter what he was saying, but when you look at one person to blame, and TDEC at this time said, hey, look, Adidas hadn't done what we wrote them a violation on, so we're not going to play with you until y'all get your stuff fixed. So we got used in that situation.
Can I add something to?
Yeah.
That notice of violation per TDEC's operating manual basically is the lowest level, and it states there's no legal consequence. It is a letter to get you to a plan of compliance. And I believe that is going on.
Yeah,
100%.
So we met with, talked to the representatives that they've got out there in the legislature about making some more teeth for TDEC to make those people come in compliance. But that's the piece that's going on today. I'll bring you next month, next time we meet, where every one of your dollars has been spent so far with all 4 of those, and the $5 million grant too, because we keep up. Christie keeps up with it every couple of weeks. She'll call and say, where you at right now? So I can get that to you where your dollars are. But I just, anything you want to add?
Yeah, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not, I'll tell you privately.
That means I said what I wasn't supposed to say.
That sounds like me.
Is there any other business that needs to come before the committee? One other motion?
Motion adjourned.
Thank you all very much.